You ever had a neighbor who thought your land was their personal playground? Like your fences, your rules, your whole way of life didn't mean a thing? That's what I got when Sarah, the HOA queen next door, snipped my fence to let her yappy dogs run wild through my pasture, acting like my farm was her backyard. I'm Nate Walker, out here on my family's land in eastern Kansas, and when I turned her perfect lawn into a cow path with a dusty old easement, it wasn't just payback. It was a lesson in respecting boundaries, delivered one hoof print at a time. This all started a year ago, but it feels like a lifetime, rooted deep in the dirt of my family's story. I've been running this farm since I was 19 after my grandpa, Earl, left it to me. It's not a big spread cows, a few chickens, some hayfields, but it's home, built on sweat and stubbornness. Grandpa taught me everything. How to fix a tractor, calm a spooked heifer, keep the land alive. He put up a solid fence around the pasture, not just to keep cows in, but to mark what's ours, especially since our land butts up against a suburban HOA called Greenview Estates. I don't pay their dues, don't answer to their rules, and I sure don't care if they think my barn's too red. We got along fine, mostly ignoring each other until Sarah moved in. She was the kind of neighbor who'd wear high heels to check her mail and walk her two fluffball dogs, named Princess and Lord Paws. I kid you not. Like she was on a catwalk, not a gravel road. I'd see her strutting along my fence, eyeing my fields like they owed her rent, and I knew trouble was brewing. One morning, I caught her inside my pasture, her dogs yapping and darting through the cows, who were not happy. I walked over, calm as I could, and said, "Hey, this is private land, working livestock area. Please keep your dogs out." She gave me this smile, like I was a kid who didn't know better, and said, "Oh, it's just a little walk. They need room to stretch their legs." I repeated, firm, "This isn't a dog park. Stay off my property." She waved me off like I was background noise and kept going. Later that day, I checked the fence and found a clean cut, 4 feet wide, snipped with bolt cutters, no mistake. My trail caught it all. Sarah, in a bright pink tracksuit, clipping away like she owned the place, her dogs chasing my cows, stressing out a pregnant heifer named Mabel. I've dealt with broken pipes, runaway goats, even a hawk that stole my lunch. But this was personal. I showed her the footage, said I'd call the sheriff if it happened again. She laughed, and told me, "Fences don't stop nature, Nate. My dogs are free spirits. You should thank me for opening up your ugly field." Then she had the gall to say my water tanks were an eyesore. The kicker came a week later when I got a letter from the HOA, claiming my fence was on their community green space and needed to come down. Green space? My land's been ours since the 1920s, never part of their HOA. But Sarah, being on the board, spun a story that my pasture was somehow theirs because it enhanced their view. I was livid not just at her, but at the idea of someone trying to erase what my family built, like our work, our lives were nothing. Then she crossed the line again, hosting a dog meetup in my field, with strangers trampling my pollinator patch and kids poking at my cows. I yelled, "Get off my land!" She shouted back, "You're lucky I'm giving you exposure. Nobody cares about your dumb cows." That was it. I drove to the county office, dug through every record on my land, and struck gold. A 1960 easement, still legal, letting me run livestock right through Sarah's backyard. She thought she could play dirty, but I was about to rewrite the game. I didn't rush it. I'm a patient guy. I filed the paperwork, got the county's blessing, and set to work. The easement cut through the corner of Sarah's yard, where she'd built this over-the-top garden. Stone paths, a fancy fountain, rose bushes trimmed like poodles. I cleared a path, put up a wooden gate with a sign I carved myself, "Authorized livestock trail, no obstructing." I laminated the permit, nailed it up, and added a little note. "Please don't feed the cows or fight the law." It was all legal, airtight, and ready to roll. That first morning, I opened the gate and led my herd, Mabel, Bessie, June, through Sarah's yard. She was at her window, face pressed to the glass, looking like she'd seen a ghost. The cows ambled in, June munching a rosebush, Bessie leaving a fresh pat on her fountain. Sarah burst out, barefoot in a bathrobe, screaming, "Stop this right now. You're ruining my property." I handed her a copy of the easement, calm as a summer breeze. "County says this is my path now, Sarah. You wanted open land. Here it is." She tore the paper in half, yelling about lawsuits, but I just pointed to my camera, already rolling, and said, "Obstructing's a violation. Sheriff's got this on file." She stormed back inside, her dogs hiding behind a shrub. I thought that'd be the peak, but it was just the start. The cows loved the path, lining up every morning like it was their new commute. They'd stroll through, graze a bit, and linger by Sarah's fountain like it was their personal spa. The neighborhood caught on fast. Kids watched from the fence. An old guy named Frank set up a lawn chair with coffee, and soon there was a crowd, snapping pics, starting a cow trek Instagram. Sarah's meltdowns went viral. Her yelling in a glittery robe, tripping over her own planter, became a TikTok hit. Sarah versus the herd, with millions of views. Folks loved it, not just for the laughs, but because Sarah had been the HOA's enforcer, fining people for dumb stuff like wrong shrubs or loud kids. Now, she was the one squirming, and neighbors started dropping by with pies, notes, even a gift card, saying, "Thanks for standing up to her." It wasn't just my fight anymore. It was the whole streets. Sarah didn't go quiet, though. She doubled down. She tried blocking the path with fancy bushes, claiming they were art. I sent her the county rule. No obstructions, period. She called me a hillbilly with a vendetta. I trimmed the bushes, left her a copy of the ordinance and a cow sticker. Then she got desperate. One morning, Mabel wouldn't walk the path. She sniffed the grass, backed off, eyes wide. The whole herd froze, twitchy. I found little piles of trail mix scattered along the route, not random but placed. My gut said trouble, so I bagged it, sent it to a vet friend who called back, voice tight. "Nate, it's got sedatives, not lethal, but enough to knock a cow out." Sarah had tried to drug my herd. I set up a hidden cam, caught her 2 nights later, sneaking out in black like a bad spy, spreading the mix, tripping over her own pot. I took the footage straight to the sheriff. This wasn't just trespassing, it was animal cruelty, and with the vet's report and my cameras, it was a slam dunk. 3 days later, Sarah got a restraining order and a court date. Word was she screamed at the deputy, claiming my cows were the real criminals. The trial was quick but brutal for her. Sarah's lawyer tried calling it a misunderstanding, saying she was feeding squirrels, but the footage, my logs, and a year of her HOA rants buried that. My lawyer, Claire, rolled out a binder. Every email, complaint, clip of Sarah cutting my fence, yelling about my disease-ridden cows. The judge didn't blink, hit her with fines, animal cruelty classes, and a public apology to me and the HOA for stirring up chaos. Her yard got county inspections every 6 months, and the easement stayed permanent as long as I kept the permit. Sarah left court pale, silent, and didn't come home for a week, hiding at her sister's, too humiliated to face the street. When she did return, she was a ghost. Curtains shut, dogs quiet, her once proud garden untouched, like she couldn't bear to see it. The path kept going, but it wasn't about revenge anymore, it was a symbol. Neighbors called it Nate's Trail, suggested making it a farm heritage spot. The HOA, sick of Sarah's drama, kicked her off the board, and folks started sharing stories of her old finds. Shutting down kids' lemonade stands, hassling people over porch lights. They weren't just cheering the cows. They were cheering freedom from her grip. The street felt alive again, with pies on porches, kids waving at Mabel, and a new balance, like we'd remembered how to be neighbors. Then came the twist. A realtor called, saying Sarah listed her house, unable to handle the memes, the stares, the cow lady nickname. The buyer? A sheep farmer named Gus, planning to raise wool and teach spinning classes. I laughed so hard I nearly fell over. Sarah's perfect yard, now set for more animals. Gus even asked for fencing tips, said he'd seen the videos and loved the stand your ground vibe. I put up a sign at the path start, an arch carved with Sarah's way, where ego meets hooves, not to gloat but to mark what happened when someone thought they could trample my land and get away with it. The cows still walk it, steady as ever, and Gus's sheep are settling in, bleating like they own the place. I stand by the fence sometimes, watching the sunset hit the fields, feeling Grandpa Earl's hand on my shoulder, proud I kept our ground. It wasn't about hate or winning. It was about the land, the cows, the life we built, and making sure it stays ours. But here's the thing, Sarah's gone, but the HOA's still there, and I've seen new faces at their meetings, whispering like they might try something. Makes me wonder if this is really over, or if another fence gutter's coming. What do you think? Was I right to let the cows fight my battle, to turn her yard into their path, or should I have just sued her from the start? Drop a comment, share your own neighbor from hell stories. And if someone crossed your line, would you draw a new one with hooves, or let it slide? Tell me, I'm listening.